Joe Croft.
Vicky
Morning.
Lawrence, how are you?
Oh, I'm all right.
No, do I need tea? I haven't got tea. I've only got water or
Need
vodka.
alcohol. No, this job is so hard.
Yeah,
This job is so hard.
yeah.
Yeah, struggling with it all at the minute. Um, Dogs, behaviour consultations, and owners love them mostly.
I agree. I do find, I think if your heart is really in this and you really want to help, I do find emotionally it is really draining. And that's through no fault of anybody's other than we are working in a really high emotive industry
Mm.
where best practice isn't always applicable or easy to do, actually, in
Mm.
reality, what we would do with our dogs, owners and owner lifestyles are not compliant with it.
This is the thing. I find it, I find all of it very hard at the minute for some reason, but what I find so hard a lot of the time is I'll go and see a client, I'll sit in their house, I'll have had a chat with them, looked at the dog, 20 minutes in, and I just think, if this dog was in my house, we wouldn't be seeing this.
Yeah.
And that's not me being big-headed or anything like that. It is just the way you're living with your dog is causing this, and I wouldn't have this. So then I have to ask them or, put things forward that they're to change the way they live. And of course, they don't want to. It's hard because they've been doing it one way for so long. And it's a lot of times it's a really easy fix and it just becomes so difficult for them. Um, and it is hard. It's really hard. And having the language, I find now as well, being older, you know, I don't know whether it's too much alcohol through my life or menopause or what. I don't feel like I have the language anymore to put across to these owners to say what they need to do. It's so, yeah, I'm so drained right now, so drained.
Well, I think the language has changed, hasn't it? I think we have moved from dogs. And I do sound, I'm with you on this in that what age brings is wiseness and experience, and we've made all the mistakes and done it wrong, continue to do so, but know that you have to learn from it. And what age also brings is an ability to look back and reflect where we were. When I was in practice as a vet nurse, I didn't have dogs doing what they're doing now. I watched probably over a space of 2 years where dry food started to come to the market. Actually, the pet food industry started to really hit. Um, Awareness of where the dog fits socially in people's houses. And this is going to sound really mad, but when I first started in practice, we had food was pedigree, chum, chappy, tripe, and people doing it themselves.
Mm,
Really get much more exciting than that. People were quite precious about their homes and their sofas because things cost a lot of money, and there were no such things as you could have a sofa on credit. So people didn't want the dog up on the sofa. We didn't have groomers to the extent where it's become normal that dogs go off for grooms now. And the flea and worm treatments weren't as good or as available as they are now. So you had dogs that really brought hygiene considerations to the party as well. So people were a lot more guarded about
mm,
what they did with their dog. And then you have all the working breeds that were actually still working. And that
mm.
that just seemed to implode over the space of 2 years
Well,
at
you
the
didn't
back
have
end of the
social
trial.
media. I mean, that you
No,
didn't have social media. You didn't have, you know, all this rubbish about, dogs making decisions all the time and, oh,
but
not.
trainers are saying this stuff, right? So if trainers are out there talking about and respectable trainers, trainers that have degrees, trainers that are vets that have come into behavior, like some people that have got online credibility or they've got qualifications and they are voicing that we need to be in this very and I'm careful when I say nurturing because I do nurture my dogs, but their empathetic mentality around let the dog decide. When you get a rescue, put a food. This is one of the worst things I ever heard, and this was from a veterinary behaviourist, so a vet that was a behaviourist. put your rescue dog's food bowl upstairs in your bedroom to encourage the freedom to walk around your house and build the dog's confidence. Well, funnily enough, what happens a week later is that dog has bitten one of the owners in the bedroom.
Mm,
The direct correlation over how you manage your territory and the behavior that you get from your dog is basic dog understanding as a behaviorist. If you don't manage the territory, you're not managing the dog's welfare needs as far as I'm concerned. I do territory to fix everything as you do as well.
yeah, I do.
So I just think this advice that has become prolific and like you say, the social media side of it is making people like you and I who utilize what the dog needs as their go-to for behavior management look cruel. I have lost count at how many times people have said this feels cruel about my work.
Mm,
And the damage that does to you as an empathetic, animal loving person is actually huge.
mm,
Now I just say, if you're going to call me cruel, I can't work with you because what I visually see when I walk into your home is a dog who is suffering, who is distressed, who cannot cope with your social environment. Whereas what you're now looking at, a dog that you perceive to be sad and bored, has actually reset and is calm and is coping with the environment. But
mm,
you perceive what you do as healthy and what I'm doing as cruel.
mm.
And the education that has to go into helping a client understand that is what's exhausting. It's
It is.
exhausting.
I mean, I've just had a sort of interpack aggression case and a little bit of resource guarding, and literally the owners ignored the dog for a week now, and we haven't seen any bad behaviour. It's been fabulous. My point is, ignoring is it's so hard to explain that because it's such a natural thing for a dog to do is ignore. And when we ignore dogs, we feel it's cruel and we're hurting them and they're miserable and they're blah blah blah. Actually, it just gives them space to be themselves and
Yeah.
reset. Like you said, that word reset, I use that a lot. And I use this ignoring a lot, not just through sort of not just with interpack aggression stuff, other things as well. But it's so it's such a powerful thing and it just allows the dog to get back into a normal state so that you can then go in and kind of put it back where it needs to be. But as soon
Mhm.
as you say to the owner, I want you to ignore your dog, it's just you can see on their face it's miserable, it's horrible. I hate saying it, but sometimes it is the only way.
Yeah, well, the majority of behavior issues are driven, maybe not caused, but driven by the emotional response from the owner, whether that be anger and upset, whether that be anxiety of walking down the street, whether that be guilt because they're at work all day or whatever. And if you look at the pattern for behavior around that, is dogs are focused on energy and emotion is just energy emotion. So the more emotion driven into a setup, the more likely you're going to have for poor behavior and helping an owner understand a barrier to that, which is what you're ignoring is. And there are some instances, Vic, which you'll have found as well, where ignoring just doing nothing isn't enough. So I call it actively ignoring the dog, where you are subtly using body language to dismiss them. So you're
Mm,
giving them a cue that they're not needed. Like
mm,
the real sharp, quick thinking dogs don't cope well with and I'm just doing nothing. You need
mm,
to be clear about how you utilize that. So if you're asking an owner to go to the next level and actually actively dismiss their dog away who is seeking and demanding attention, that's a whole nother level of managing their emotional input to it. Clients will often cry, like
mm,
and actually it's not because they're unhappy with what I'm doing, it's the realization they've caused their dog emotional harm and they might be on drugs because of that. But the realization that this is actually reasonably quite simple. A lot of what we do is actual common sense if you take the dog for what the dog is. And if you view the dog's sad face, because let's face it, most dogs have sad faces when they're calm, as your interpretation and perception of a situation that's actually just being driven by calm, then you can start to forge your way through. But what that does to you, I think that's the hardest bit for me. It's not the dog. The dog takes me 10, 15 minutes to figure them out, know how effective I can be, understand what I need to do. And then you're a 2 hour minimum slog into moving the owner's conditioned mindset from where they currently are to having, first and foremost, self belief. So again, I don't know about you, but I get really frustrated if owners don't have any confidence because someone's knocked that and told them they're rubbish, blamed them because, work previous didn't work. I need an empowered, confident, upbeat, positive owner that I can praise and encourage the whole way along. And I just think if you don't get that, and that's hard, because most clients are broken, aren't they?
To be
Let's face
honest, when they, yeah, by the time they come to us, actually, they're at their last tether,
Yeah, they're
aren't
done.
they? They're
Yeah,
they're at their last straw, and they are emotionally exhausted, and the household is not happy, the dog's not happy, no one's happy, particularly when
they're not.
aggression's involved.
Yeah.
Um, and I keep catching myself in the camera, my hair. Oh God, I'm so glad. I'm so glad this isn't
I don't know where it's gone. Have you got a
right.
clip in or something? It just,
No, I haven't. No, I took scissors to it at the weekend.
uh,
I just
yeah.
yeah, I just took this.
Maybe don't do that again.
No, well, it's yeah, just note to self: don't cut one's own hair.
Have you actually cut it off? It's got no back. For people that can't see what's going on here, I'm looking at this uh
Just
orange, lopsided bob
it is
thing going
lopsided.
on.
I've not really looked at it. I
Is
just
there a back? Is there hair at the
yeah.
back or
There's
not?
back. No, there's load of back.
But
There's
it's
load of.
short, is it? It's
No,
short.
it's short. It's short anyway because it was coming. It came down longer at the front, but I got fed
Yeah.
up with it on Saturday. And funnily enough, went to a party and my hairdresser was there, and she said, "What have you done to your hair then?" I think she thought I'd been to another hairdresser. I'm like, "No, no, Nick, no, it's fine. I just took scissors to it myself, cut about 2 inches off each side." And she was ever so complimentary after that.
Well, it's not awful, but yeah, I can kind of, yeah, I can kind of
Yeah.
see you hacked
No,
at it
it's
a
a good
little
job it's
bit.
not a visual podcast. Anyway, sorry.
Moving on, what were you
What
going
were
to
we saying?
say?
I don't even know what we were saying. It was all a bit
No, I knew
serious,
that
wasn't
was
it?
coming, and you don't expect me to remember.
No.
We were talking about clients and how and emotional this whole process is, and the energy involved in emotion, and what is emotion? Emotion is just energy in motion in simple terms, and dogs react to energy, right?
Mm.
So teaching a client to channel their positive inner self into, right, we make active change today, and dogs live in the moments he can. They're not humans. Don't talk to me about human behavior because that's not what I do. Having said that, I think I'm more adept at human behavior now in some aspects than most other things in life because if you can't read your client, you can't go anywhere, can you?
No.
If what you're saying is not being absorbed by your client, or it's not palatable, or they don't want to, or they don't like you, or they don't like the setup, you fail the dog. And
100%.
that's what I say from the off. I
No.
need to know where you're at mentally all
Yeah.
the way through so that we don't fail your dog.
Mm. No, it is. It's a really strange profession actually because it isn't just about going in and fixing the dog. If the owner doesn't like you when you walk through the door,
Yeah,
or
you're done.
which happens, obviously, not everybody likes everybody, then you're on a no road to nowhere really because what you're going to tell the owner to do is generally quite difficult. Um, I think that's what I'm saying. By the time people get to us, they're kind of in their last
Yes.
chance saloon, aren't they? A lot of these dogs, and so the advice we give tends to be quite heavy.
Yeah.
Um, and if you've walked in and the owner's just gone, "I don't like you at all," and I think that's really, I think you're done, aren't you? And you've got to work really hard then to get them on side or to, try and reach a place where you're okay and they can
Yeah.
they can listen to you and can take advice from you. And
Yeah.
it's very much well, we and Ross talk about it. We're a bit like chameleons. I tend to go in and mirror my
Yes.
client, not because I'm being anything, not because I'm weird. Well, I'm a bit weird, but if they're like, if you get to the door and there's somebody really, upset or whatever, you don't go in jumping around with, singing, do you? It's you go in and you're very, you're serious. And if you get somebody, sometimes you open the door and you get, really high energy people. And I really do match. I
Yeah.
tend to match their energy when I go in.
Yeah.
If they're jumping around all happy and singing, I'm the same. And if they're low, I go in a calm way. And I think I wasn't taught that.
No,
That was
it's
nothing I
just,
was taught.
I
That was
agree.
something that was in me. And I think a lot of this job, you do have to be a certain way.
Yeah.
There's got to be for it to be successful and make a living from it, because ultimately, yes, we want to help dogs, but we've got to put food on the table. To make a
Yeah.
living at it, you have to be a certain personality, I think.
I think there are certain aspects that I think are very hard unless you have an abundance of experience. I think one is being able to empathize with people's different situations.
Mm.
And I agree with the chameleon thing because if you're walking into you might walk into three different, completely different areas, and I mean areas of affluence, areas of culture, and if you're walking in with just your armor of this is who I am, without the ability to ingrain yourself and be familiar or interested. I mean, I
Mm.
had lovely, lovely, lovely Iranian lady, totally lovely Iranian. She was just awesome. She was so straight talking on the phone. She's a very much alpha female. I found her quite imposing. It was
Mm.
3 or 4 phone calls for me to get through the door, and I was like, I know I can help you, but you need to be ready. So let me know. Anyway, she let me in, very guarded when I met her, very straight, straight face. Oh my God, we were the best of friends. I stayed there chatting about Iran. She'd left Iran,
Mm.
walking out of her front door with bombs going off left, right, and center, and said that basically she still feels that, even living,
Mm.
in the south of England. Um, and just the development of that relationship required me in order to help her dog, who became a little bit on the sideline, really. We just kind of did her as we navigated our own
Mm.
relationship. Um, but it required me to be interested in her life, in her, give a little bit of my background because people like to know about you so they can understand who you are. I would have a tendency to completely overshare. I've learnt a line for that now, which I think over the years you learn, don't you? Clients consults were 6 hours. They're now down to 2.5, 3, because you learn how much of yourself you need to give. I don't think this is something that it's very easy for people that are young or haven't had life experience or had some experience of children or difficulties in their life to be able to walk in and just do. It's very much like, the
Mm.
best counselors have been through something themselves.
Yeah.
So we all have because of the age and level of experience that we've got. So I pull on I'm an anxiety specialist because I've lived that, and I say that many times. I
Mm.
can talk you through chemically what is going on with my eyes shut in me and in the dog and in my clients. And
Mm.
because of that, you work out when's your client shut down. What are they doing? I'm picking up all their little body language nuances. Are they fidgeting? Are they looking away? Are they, rolling their eyes subconsciously? I know they're going to roll their eyes before they've even done it, and I'll call it out. Come on, you're not getting it, are you? And we'll make a joke of it.
Yeah.
If I want a cup of tea, because I absolutely need a moment for everybody to decompress, I'll go, right, let's do something. Let's go in the kitchen, and just, dogs in there, behind a gate, whatever. Let's just go in there and walk around. I don't know, just flick the kettle on or something. And they'll go, oh, Joe haven't offered you a cup of tea. Yeah, lovely. Thanks. I'll have a cup of tea.
Yeah, I
Because
know.
once the cup of tea or the coffee comes out, you're now there. You're relaxed. And it's
No,
not
I'm the same.
manipulative. It's just what we need to do
No,
to
it
get
is. No,
our
I often ask
relationship.
for a glass of water if I'm desperate for a coffee or whatever. I'll because clients, they don't, owners, like clients, owners, on people in general, they're not thinking, oh, I'm not going to offer you a cup of tea. They're just so
They
in the
just get
moment
lost in the moment.
they
Yeah.
can't. And so I might have been there an hour and I might say, oh, do you mind? Could I have a glass of water? And they'll be, oh my God, not offered you a drink. What would you like? And then of course you get a minute, don't you? They go and make tea and coffee. You get a minute to think about what the hell am I going to do with this dog?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you
I,
do sometimes you need a moment too. I
you
mean, I've
do.
either
You
there
really
have been
do.
there are times where I mean, in extreme cases, I have left. So I've said to the owner, right, let's put some leadership in. Let's do a little ignoring program for just 48 hours and then I'll be back. And it's literally given me time to go away and just absorb what I've seen or what I'm and think about it. That is extreme. I haven't done that very often, but I have done it. And I think you've got to be able to say, actually, do you know what? I need a minute here. I
Yeah.
need a
I
minute,
think I do. So my visit, by the time I get out, they know me really well. For my big cases, like I do offer a kind of flexi option where it's just me, seat in my pants. You still fill a questionnaire in, so I know from a safety aspect,
Mm,
I've still had a phone call,
mm,
but I do a Zoom session with a get out of jail card. If we don't gel on the Zoom, or you're not gonna, I basically walk them through my methodology so they know before I get
yeah,
there, like
yeah.
where we know how far is my tough, because it's not actually that tough. What's going to be expected of them, and we've already shared some stuff, so it's easier. I feel more like a
It
friend
is
of
nice to do a
mine.
Zoom. I don't do I do it very occasionally if it calls for it, but I don't. It's not part of my thing. It's a phone call is as much as I do, but it is a good idea actually. But I don't.
It's really well, that
Yeah,
came off
it's a
the
good
back
idea.
of when I obviously got bitten in that house, whatever that
Yeah,
was now, like 2015. I was like, this is just not safe. I'm flying
no,
into aggression cases, banging on people's doors, doing no prep work really, trusting what they're saying. When you're actually in front of them, that people will generally tell
yeah,
you, the information we get, we're a bit like a hairdresser, aren't we? Like, and we get stuff that we probably shouldn't hear.
mm,
And clients really do open up. It's made me very humble. Like some of
mm,
the situations I've been in, I'm like, I'm not just talking about the dog, I'm talking about people's challenges that, like, massive
mm,
respect to so many people that
mm.
the dog is a byproduct for the energy in the house. So when you
Yeah,
actually see, and that's not always, sometimes dogs are just wired differently or wrong or whatever, or their needs are not being met for more complex reasons. But I'd say probably a good 60% of households that we go into are struggling with a variety of different life issues, whether it's
mm,
children with autism, which I just love. They're my favorite cases, like bringing dogs and children with neurodivergent situations together is amazing. So just the best thing ever.
mm,
Um, there are other areas that are, I've had people with two disabled young children, on her own at home. Husband's out working, and she's got two little kiddies in wheelchairs, and she's trying to manage a lovely little family pet that
mm,
was absolutely fine. But as life has changed and become more demanding, the dog is now struggling. Oh, endless, various
mm,
OCDs. I had a lovely woman who had seen another behaviourist before me with her English Bull Terrier that had obsessive compulsive tail chasing, which is prolific in the breed anyway.
mm,
The work before had failed. My way into that to get her to understand what needed to happen was her opening up to me and telling me that she was a hand washer. So, as in, had her own OCD. So, what I set her to do with the dog, which was to set a breaker, so basically to
yeah,
intercept the behavior with bed management,
yeah,
or the dog got to a point of repetition and
yeah,
dopamine.
mm,
She did the same thing. She found her own breaker, and literally 3 weeks later, she said to me, mine's not gone because I'm a human and I understand that from our consult. But she cracked the dog within about 3 days.
mm,
Amazing.
mm,
And it had brought something else to her life.
mm,
Another girl who took up running, went back to her counselor. She was in the army and had massive PTSD. Working with me with her dog, put her back on a positive pathway to go and get herself. I'm getting emails and text messages saying I've lost 4 pound. I'm running 10K. I
oh,
can't believe my I made like Vic, it's amazing, but no, there's not a but. I don't want to use the word but. It's amazing. It just takes quite a lot out of you to really rally for those people.
mm,
And we are. I honestly feel dogs I can do with my eyes shut most of the time, but making that work fit and having my client as my tool, because without them we fail. I'm going home. So
mm,
the client's the tool, right? If they
yeah,
don't believe in themselves or they
yeah,
don't understand what the parameters, um the timeline, how long they need to be doing things for, when do they move on, if they don't understand that or can't process it,
mm,
then you fail. We all fail, and that's just not an option for me at all, really.
no,
So I get it. I get why you're
mm. It,
overwhelmed. You can't just
yeah, no,
manipulate them, can you?
I'm all right. But no, I mean, I say this
There's nothing wrong with you, really.
yeah,
So,
apart from my haircut.
apart from your hair.
I often, I say it in the workshops and stuff. There aren't many jobs where you're teaching somebody to teach something else,
No.
and it's Yeah, it's
Teachers,
quite
we teach them
unique.
teachers.
Teach something else with a brain, I mean,
Yes.
other than yeah, it's quite unique. No, it is a good profession. I don't think it's for everybody though.
No, and I think the state of play now, from where we started 25 plus years ago, whatever that was now, it was easier. I didn't know as much then, but so I was all into learning and wanting to gather as much information. So it's probably harder from that perspective. But the dynamics of what I walk into now, where you're just mobbed by a dog as soon as you walk through the door, and it's okay if it bites you because it occasionally does that, and we love him. He's bitten us as well. Why is this has become I'm sorry. It's not acceptable.
No
And the
thanks.
amount of times I'm finding myself in a position where I'm actually voicing to owners, okay, say your dog bites and you've seen three trainers. Has anybody told him not to bite?
Mm,
Well, what do you mean by that?
mm,
Well, have you put structure and discipline and manners in place to say, do you know what, mate? There's no platform for this, so off you trot.
mm,
Don't do that. Well, no, we just throw food on the floor when he walks
mm.
through, or we shut him out and we shut a door on him.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah,
good one. Okay, so now he's isolated, and there's
yeah.
all that pent up frustration because you've slammed the door on him that you never do at any other time, only
Mm,
when people come. And
mm,
then outdoors, he's on a lead, so you've got all that frustration. But because none of that's really focused on or explained, that it gets overlooked. And but once you've overlooked that, you're in a world of I'm not fixing this now. This is
mm,
just it's not going to happen. So I
mm,
find it very I find the dynamics of being able to make what I do acceptable. I have to do it physically in front of them, and then they're okay. Okay,
yeah.
that makes sense. Then it's
No,
fine.
you said a minute ago about knowing a lot. I have to tell you that I think 5 years I knew less than I do now because this subject and this profession, you never know it all. You are always learning. I'm still learning, and I found consultations easier when I knew less.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
True, it's true.
I
I used to
didn't.
go in black and white. As we go, then we'll do this, and this. Let's do that. Fix it. I go in now and I overthink so much. I see so much because I know more. I see so
Yeah.
much. Then I get overwhelmed, and then I come away and have a meltdown. And yeah, on off we go. You know, and there's in this cycle. I honestly, I think, yeah, I was better at my job when I knew less.
I think it
I don't know
keeps
what that
you
is, but there we go.
well, it keeps you the more you know, the more you realize that there's stuff everybody doesn't know,
Mm,
and you need to stay humble. You get hurt. If I think back to when that dog had me in the flat, I mean,
mm,
the red flags were off the chart, and I
mm.
saw them. My gut, I trust my gut, and I didn't listen to it on that day.
Yeah.
You just know now, like that type of situation, set up dog, you either prep it better and have a different conversation, or you
Mhm.
don't put yourself, you're not, I learned very quickly that I'm not infallible. And I was going with, I can fix everything. Like at that point, I had enough traction that there wasn't anything you could chuck at me that I wouldn't fix. Just at that
Mm,
stage in my career. And he taught me, you ain't fixing me.
mm,
No one is fixing me. And the difference in that dog compared to 99.9% of the dogs that I see has stayed with me forever. I've never seen another one after him, actually. I had a couple before that I think I was
mm,
lucky.
mm,
But since him, I think maybe subconsciously I'm a bit more careful about what scenarios I walk into and what I see.
Was it a bull breed?
He was a bull breed mix, so he was
Mm.
a pit cross, Neapolitan Mastiff cross, uh, uh, some I don't know, to be honest. There were
Mm.
lots. He was
Okay.
45 kilos of
Yeah.
meathead, and
Nice.
what got me was, which I know now, is I got to the front door and he was very boisterous. I was there because he chased cats off the TV, so he wouldn't cope with anything on the telly,
Mm,
barked, and was a handful. Um, I subsequently found out this was pre-Zoom, pre-proper history taking. I subsequently found out that he was growling at one or other of the owners in the bedroom when the other
Yeah.
one tried to get in bed. He wasn't a massive fan of strangers.
Mm.
He didn't, I don't think I to this day think I got a decent history. But what was chilling and what I've never had since was he was very boisterous. I kind of got him on a lead, just sent him off to his bed so I could sit down and talk to the owners. But he was sat to the side of me, and every hair on my body was stood on end. And he was kind of to the side but behind. And
Mm.
while they're talking to me, I could just visualize him grabbing the back of my head. It was the weirdest thing ever. I just was uncomfortable with him, so I moved him. But the 2 hours, I didn't touch him. They did all of it, which again is not common for me. Normally, I
Mm.
would do the
Mm.
work first. But I think it was the death stare that I got for 2 hours, the silent death stare that I got for 2 hours,
Mm.
and the energy was all wrong.
Mm.
So it was kind of an accident waiting to happen that now I would the minute that I would feel that discomfort, I'd be like, right, he needs to go. We need a
Yeah.
different discussion, and he needs to be safely behind some sort of barrier. I didn't
Mm.
have that. So
Mm.
I think all I'm very glad it happened, as much as the state that I was in for like 3 months afterwards. Um, and sitting doing my degree and everything. It was like my whole career. I didn't know if I could ever do this job again at the time.
Mm.
But I think these things happen for important reasons. And what I did was I grabbed the positive out of that and built Puppy Coach as a
Yeah.
new focus because I was like, I need to channel
Mm.
myself into something that's going to be positive, or I'll never work with a dog again. Because when the species that you love and put everything into does that,
Mm.
and it was terrifying, you I wouldn't have wanted to be around them. If, let alone go and see an aggressive one in someone's house.
No, there's
So,
nothing
but the
worse than.
process you go through is important. Like it's phenomenal learning. And
Mm.
it's learning that I've taken with me. I don't know, it might be why I don't work with dogs in muzzles. I don't know. I know you kick me for that, don't you?
Yeah, I don't, not a fan of that. I need to know
I
what.
just don't know at what point I would take the muzzle off. Because dogs are different. I get
No, I know they are. I know
your
they are. It calms them down a little bit, which is kind of nice, but I need to know. It doesn't stop the intent. It doesn't, if the dog's really intending to. I mean,
yeah.
the trouble is, I think the reason I will always work with muzzles is because I have been witness to so many events that if the muzzle wasn't used, my colleague would be either dead or maimed.
So
And
what do
you
you
know,
know what?
I just don't, so I can't unsee that now.
Yeah.
So for me, I need to know, is this dog, what intent is this? Are we just going to give you a nip? You know, I've been bitten. I've been bitten twice by German Shepherds, both times not, badly. I broke the skin. And also a Daxi. Funnily enough, the Daxi bite was worse because they're really going for the kill, don't they?
Yeah, they really
And
do.
yeah, that's when I had to go to hospital with that one. But I what was I saying? What was I going to say?
You were
God's
talking
sake.
about the muzzle
Oh.
being on. It doesn't tell you. The muzzle tells you the intent, right? Because if
Yeah,
they
so
go,
sorry. Yeah, so if yes, that's right. So, if you're going to get like I've been bitten twice by German Shepherds, neither time put me in hospital, broke the skin, but it wasn't bad. That's a bite that you can cope with, but the bites where that would have put you in hospital big time, and the bite that you went through as well. I know you say in hindsight it wasn't a bad thing because it's taught you loads, but
oh my God, like
I
Vic,
don't want
honestly,
it, and I don't definitely don't
no,
want it at my age now. So
no, you're
I
absolutely right.
don't.
I think
I
I
do like a
think
muzzle. Um,
what do you know what my the backstory kind of the difference for me and the awareness came. Do you remember the Malinois that I came to see with you? That was
yes,
right. I can
yes.
tell you, but I,
But if he hadn't been muzzled, he'd have had your face.
Vic, I was just going to say to you, right? The way that I worked with him, muzzled, is not how I work with dogs that are unmuzzled. But he bashed me so much in the face, he would have ripped my jaw off.
No, I know.
100%. He would
Well,
have.
I
He
know.
would have.
No, I know he would have, but
He
it's
was tethered
why
to
he
the
was
wall, wasn't
muzzled.
he?
Hmm?
He was tethered to the wall, that dog.
Yes, I had him tethered. Well, I had to because they were, yeah, he was tethered.
No, it
But
was like horrific.
he was,
But
yeah.
I drove home and just thought, Jesus, like if he didn't have a muzzle on, where would I have been? That's the difference. However, I'm not, I thought I was quite stupid that day. I gave him way too much exposure to my personal space, which I would never do with a dog unmuzzled. So I've done this for so many years now. Would I be the same if a dog is muzzled and then I choose to take that muzzle off and now I'm like gung ho, but I haven't, do you know what I mean? I've got a way of working now.
No, it's
That
fine, and
it
I
doesn't
don't.
mean I never
What?
use a muzzle, but because I do, but just in general, I like to know what I'm up against
Mm.
from the off. It's just a different
Yeah,
way, isn't
no,
it?
it's just a different way. It's not right or wrong, and I don't, I just, I'm not telling you you're wrong. I'm not.
No,
Who am
no,
I
I
to
don't
tell you
think
you're
it's
wrong?
right
I'm not
either. I
telling you
wouldn't
you're wrong, but
advise it.
I just find it. I just couldn't do it. I'm not in that. No,
No, I agree. I don't think
yeah.
if I was, working with another behaviorist practitioner, teaching somebody, I wouldn't be telling them this is what you do.
Mm.
Um, and I'm not saying I'm right or wrong, right? Really, it's
Well,
just
you're
I tend
right for
to
you,
assess.
aren't you? You're right
Yeah,
for you.
yeah,
This,
till I get nailed.
until you get nailed, yeah. But we in this, we are going to get bitten in this profession, that's for
The
sure. But
muzzle has to, for me, the muzzle has to have done my job properly. Me personally, the muzzle has to come off at some point because if I can't put my money where my mouth is, how can I assume that my client is? This is me. This is not, I'm not judging anyone else. We
mm,
all have our own styles and we all have our own approaches to cases as well, right? I
mm,
tend to come in quite clear, hard hitting. This is what I'm doing. Other people want to go back 3 or 4 times and do a gradual thing. Sometimes I'll go twice, but we
mm,
all have different ways to get to the same end goal. And it
mm,
kind of doesn't matter as long as you are making parameters that are safe. For an owner taking, I've got a case that's another big bull breed type dog, and she has nailed several dogs and broken one dog's leg. I'm
mm.
not taking her out unmuzzled because
No,
we could both be overpowered. So that's,
yes,
if it's members of the public or
yeah,
people in the house, that's a different story. She's
yeah.
wearing a
No,
muzzle like
I mean,
that.
and to answer your question, the muzzle comes off when it's safe to do so. I mean, just for the sake of, whatever the
But
word
I
is.
don't know when that is. I
No,
think,
we don't, do we? This is the thing, and this is why, but it has to be, there has to be a number of things. The dog has to make changes, the owners have to make changes, because of course, you know, 2 months down the line, the dog isn't the same dog and the owners aren't the same owners. If they've worked with me for 2 months, they're not the same people and the dog isn't the same dog.
no,
So
definitely not.
there is progression, and the muzzles always come off unless, if the muzzle never comes off, probably the dog isn't going to be kept. That's yeah.
I think the whole kind of platform for the way that most of us work is about building, your human contact with the owner so they see you as a human being, not because that's the other thing you used to have is people would have an expectation, this is common, right, that they'll put their aggressive dog behind a gate when it's friends and family, but they want you to see. I remember I got nailed by a
Oh
Frenchie once
yeah,
because they wanted me to see
yeah.
what it did at the front door. So I set it
Yeah.
up properly, and then we did it. We did everything properly. She went away from the front door. She was absolutely fine. And I said, right, we're going to go through the motions. We're going to do all of that now, and we're going to do my re-arrival with all the new plan in place.
Mm,
So they're like, fine. I knocked at the door. They opened the door and she was there because they wanted to see what would happen now that we'd done some work, and they wanted to make sure that I'd seen the behaviour. To this day, I still have two front teeth marks on the inside of my thigh. Like the
mm,
so all of the learning that I've had has usually come off the back of something where I've gone not acceptable. Like I've
mm,
got kids, I'm a human being, you're setting me up to fail.
mm,
You don't test on me. That's not what you do. I'm not
mm,
invincible. But clients, and through no fault of their own, they think you're going to come and wave a massive dog whispering wand, and especially if you've come highly recommended, and they think that their dog won't behave like that with you because you'll be able to do it, which a lot of the time we can make a big impact straight
mm.
away. But being set up to fail like that has to be something that I mitigate now. I don't allow that to happen because it's just unsafe. You're the
Yeah.
same, right? You just think you're going to come and not ever get bitten by their bitey dog.
No, they do. They want you to see it. And I have times I've said to clients, I know what a bite looks like. You don't have
Yeah,
to show me. You know, you don't. I don't need to see it. But I know I can. I understand. I believe you.
yeah,
You say the dog's going to
yeah.
bite me. I believe you.
Or you spend like an hour or 45 minutes setting a dog up with great deference, great obedience, take them down below threshold, walk them out of the front door. You've done all this work and they're like, yeah, but this Joe, you're not seeing it. Yeah,
Yeah.
but what are you not seeing? That I've
Yeah.
just spent 45 minutes or an hour working your dog before we step out.
Yeah.
Great, because that means I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So surely this is a good thing. No, but we want what will happen when we turn this corner? I mean, I've been times where I've gone to London when I can't leave because I'm too far away. So I've got to tick every box, whether I've been to cafes, I've been to this pub, I've been to the kids' school, because in one of these areas the dog's going to kick off. No, it doesn't, because of all the prep work I've done at home.
Mm.
But they want you've got to reinforce everything they want you to see.
They're not
And that's
happy.
important
Yeah.
to me. It's important, right? You don't do it, they're left thinking, yeah, but I can't do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's frustrating, but hey ho, it's the
Hey
job,
ho.
what we get paid to do.
It is a super complicated, rewarding, frustrating, exhausting, but again, highly rewarding job. It is,
It make
you know,
it
it
makes you a
is,
better person. I think it's made me a better person
yeah.
to be more aware, massively reflect. I mean, I'm a bit of an overthinker, reflective type person anyway, but hugely positively reflective. And if I come away from a case and I'm thinking about it and I'm not sure, having the confidence to just ring up and go, can we have a quick chat? You know, we talked about having that real fluid relationship,
Mm,
confident relationship with my clients where I've got their back. You're
mm,
awesome. That's amazing. You know, those words of affirmation are life changing for people to
mm,
hear they're getting it right when
mm,
everybody's told them you're doing it wrong, your dog's an embarrassment, why are you so anxious, it's all you, if you didn't do this. That's what they get right before they come to us.
mm,
But for somebody to turn around and go, it's actually not you, it's a communication breakdown.
mm,
If I was Spanish and you were English and we were trying to communicate, but neither one of us spoke the language, we'd need someone in the middle supporting that and bringing those languages together. And that's me for your dog. That's what I'm
mm,
doing. It's
mm,
simple. And I think getting them into a really confident, strong, productive place is life changing
mm,
hugely.
mm.
So it is. It's a lovely job. But going back to what you said at the start of
No,
our little pod,
it
um,
is.
it
It's all
leaves
about
us
you.
completely emotionally drained,
No, it does. It does.
absorbing all their mistakes and all their negativity and feeling like we're not getting it right because they're not picking it up straight away. Waking up at 4 in the morning and worrying about the kid down the street might get bitten again.
No, it does. Well, yeah, it makes me cut my hair off. So
Well,
traumatized. Anyway, I think that's a good place to wrap up. But before we go,
agreed.
I'm just going to say I am very much looking forward to your course, your that you're
Yay!
doing. Is it three Zooms or four Zooms?
So 4 Zooms are 2 hours
Four
each every
Zooms
Tuesday through
through
September.
September
So it's going to be,
about neuroscience and how it affects behavior. And actually, if there's
yeah.
anybody listening who is doing behavior right now and doing consults, this is where you want to be this is what you want to be listening to, because it's going to put some substance into what you do for
Yeah, so I'm
sure.
going to basically try, it's a fairly scientific topic, which I can't massively simplify. I will be talking, different neurotransmitters and how the brain works and how this affects dogs' behavior. So there'll be a section at the start of every session where we do a 45 minute. You're going to need to bring your brain to the table, pen and paper, and be understanding what I'm saying. But what I'm going to try and do, or what I'm going to do, is feed that into a case study. So,
Awesome.
okay, so we'll have a bit of a break. Then I'm going to put a case study on the table, and we can talk about what we've just listened to
Mm,
in respect of how it affects the dog, and then a very short, which I'm going to need to be quite short about, but a very short kind of prepped questions and answers. What I
mm,
might do is get people just to pop up some questions on the side that I'll use, and I'll pick a handful of them, and
Mm,
we'll do questions and answers at the end, because 2 hours is going to fly.
it is.
Um, but I do want participants to be able to interact so that I can kind of gauge their learning and understand of what I'm talking about. Because if it doesn't fly or it's too nitty-gritty, it's not productive, and they'll go away and not know how to apply what I've said in
Mm,
their job. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It'll be
yeah.
challenging for me as well, because it's
No, I'm
quite
looking.
I'm not a scientist, I know what I
Yeah.
know, and I'm
Yeah.
quite intuitive, but I can't pull clinical case studies out of the bag and
No.
be, referencing everything just off the cuff. So I'm going to be talking quite practically and realistically about what our role is within this and how this can help. So yeah, it should be
Well,
fun.
I think it's going to be a lot of fun and very, very informative, and I'm looking forward to it loads. So
Cool.
yes, anybody wants to join us, look on the CIDBT website. Little bit of sales pitch here.
Yeah,
Um,
you are, aren't you?
yeah,
Like
no,
and subscribe. Like
like
and
and
subscribe.
subscribe. Yeah, CIDBT website, Joe Cross Neuroscience, How Dogs Work.
It's called Beyond Behaviour.
It is. It
Nice
is, which is
catchy
what it is.
title.
Yeah, yeah, very cool. Right, my darling. Well, I don't know
Lovely.
what we've spoken about today. I don't know where the topic was.
Listen, I think it's
But
important, right? I think there's too many people that think the job is just fun, and we're working with puppies all day, and training dogs is just great for a
playing
living.
with
But
dogs
I
all
think
day. Yeah.
that gone are those days.
God, no.
It's a lot more complex now, and I
No.
think, coming into it with your eyes open, and being respectful and starting at the bottom, which is what we did, for
Mm,
nothing,
mm,
barely anything. I was just doing
mm,
cases for the fun of it to begin with.
mm,
Is important and okay learning. It's okay to sit
mm.
and be transparent about what I don't know.
Yeah,
Um,
totally.
because we all do that, right?
Yeah, we do.
Well, lovely to see you. Go
And
sort your
you, love?
hair out.
Yeah, I'll go and sort my hair out. And I will
Yeah.
see you in a couple of weeks then.
Look forward to it. Bye,
See you,
love.
babe. Bye bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.